The human imagination is a real marvel to behold. As a species, we're constantly striving for better technology with the hopes of experiencing a greater society at large. Today, experts and sci-fi fans alike have their own predictions and guesses of what the future holds for our planet's next 50 years of tech and space. Obviously, we don't have any other way to test those predictions. Until we get there, we'll just have to wait. In today's video, we're going to be talking about if space and tech predictions from 50 years ago have become true or remained plain science fiction. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to Sky's TL and hit the bell icon for notifications. Now, let's get into the video. First things first, to put things into perspective, it's been 50 years since the last man stepped on the moon. The very first space station was launched and the first ever email was sent. In that era, one of the most mainstream predictions of how technology and space exploration was going to evolve was within the 1968 Stanley Kubrick film 2001: A Space Odyssey. Kubrick is, of course, praised for the very grand, very imaginative way he interpreted the future. But it wasn't Kubrick who had the technological foresight shown in the film. Rather, Arthur C. Clarke was the main scriptwriter of the epic science fiction film. And looking at his resume, it's not hard to imagine why he was called to give such input to the project. Clarke was a science writer, an inventor, an undersea explorer, and a television host, and those were just his day jobs. In his free time, he was a science fiction writer and a futurist who significantly contributed to predictions of how we explore space and how we use communication technologies today. 2001: A Space Odyssey remains a relevant film in the over 50 years since its release, because with the great combination of Clarke's and Kubrick's creative minds, they created a universe with technologies that have very much made their way into the real world and our everyday use. For example, one of the most iconic characters to come out of the film was HAL 9000, a supercomputer with artificial intelligence gone evil. HAL was able to talk, read lips, play chess, recognize faces, critique artwork, and do psychological evaluations. In the time since HAL was introduced to audiences, we've been able to create AI that can carry out these exact functions and more. One of the most famous AI examples today that goes beyond the predictions of Clarke and Kubrick is the humanoid robot Sophia. Originally unveiled to the world in 2016, Sophia is a complex humanoid robot with communication and interactive abilities that would definitely excite those from half a century ago. Sophie's AI software allows her to recognize and mimic subtle emotional expressions, which makes her way of speaking so likable and natural. In addition to being a people person, Sophia is an artist who's been able to sell her digital self-portraits for up to $700,000 in the NFT market. The team that created Sophia aimed to humanize robotics and let people see how kind artificial intelligence can be, unlike HAL, which was possibly meant to serve as a warning to future AI developers. Although for now, most of us don't have access to robots like Sophia, we still do have smaller scale, casual AI that's interwoven into our everyday lives, like the iPhone's virtual assistant Siri and Amazon's Alexa. Less casual AI, besides Sophia, is best exemplified in IBM's Jeopardy-winning question-answering computer program Watson, HAL's far less evil, far more helpful cousin. Another prediction 2001 got correct was the use of credit cards and video calling. In the film, one of the astronauts, Floyd, inserts what appears to be a credit card into a computer to video call his family back on Earth. This scene is significant because it simultaneously predicted the everyday use of credit cards, which were not nearly as common in the late 60s, and the essential communication of video calling that we use regularly on our smart devices. Above all, Arthur C. Clarke was a futurist. Futurists typically work in the world of science or economics to predict potential futures based on the current trends. So in addition to making wildly entertaining contributions to the world of science fiction, Clarke also predicted how technology would evolve and enable us to communicate with others, accurately predicting the rise of the internet, social media, and smartphones in an interview with AT&T in 1976. Moving out of the realm of technology, Russian climatologist Mikhail Budiko made accurate predictions about climate change over half a century ago. In 1972, using a simple method to make climate predictions, Budiko predicted a 1 degree Celsius increase in the average global temperature and the disappearance of about 50% of Arctic ice. In the 50 years that passed, the average global temperature increased by 0.98 degrees Celsius, which is extremely close. Extending even further, Budiko predicted that Earth's average global temperature would increase an additional 1.25 degrees Celsius by 2070, and that the Arctic would no longer be covered by ice year-round by 2050. For now, we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, now that we've seen just how accurately humans have been able to predict the future, let's take a look at what scientists and futurists of the current generation are predicting for the next 50 years. The internet. These days, the internet has become almost as essential to everyday life as oxygen. As the next 50 years of tech advancements approach, our dependency on the web is only expected to deepen. Experts predict that this can be extremely helpful and essential to improving the quality of human life, but also detrimental, especially regarding the personal privacy issues and data selling that people have become aware of in recent years. By 2069, it's predicted that an unregulated, anarchistic internet will cease to be. Elected officials and technology leaders will likely have instilled regulations that protect the public good, with a lawless alternative proving to be dangerous and destructive, especially to young and vulnerable populations. Of course, this regulation comes with worry, as the idea of a powerful elite controlling the internet and using it to monitor and manipulate while keeping the masses distracted and complacent sounds nothing short of an Orwellian dystopian future. Space tourism. Space tourism is predicted to be a booming industry within the next 50 years, with suborbital flights anticipated to become more common and financially accessible. Currently, a suborbital flight, a flight that extends slightly beyond Earth's atmosphere, will cost about $50,000. Space exploration companies are currently working on fine-tuning their crafts to lower the price of this one-of-a-kind experience so more people can know what it's like to float in space. Insect protein. In order to keep up with a rapidly growing population, scientists predict that humanity will soon start consuming more insects as a way to get their daily protein. The human population grows by approximately 70 million every year, and the global population is expected to reach a whopping 9 billion by the year 2050. So to keep everyone with full bellies, the food industry will have to produce about twice as much as it currently does. With humanity already using 70% of agricultural land to raise livestock, and with oceans being overfished, one hopeful solution is having a more insect-based diet. But why insects? Well, they're a sustainable food source, they're nutritious, and they're high in fat, protein, vitamins, and fiber, with a mineral content that's actually quite similar to some animals we currently eat. For example, house crickets and beef have a very similar amount of protein. Space colonies. Settlements on the Moon and Mars are also predicted to be a reality within the next 50 years. With NASA's upcoming Artemis program that's pushing to send a man and woman to the southern pole of the Moon in 2024, scientists predict that if the mission is successful, the first generation of moon settlers could be on the Moon by the 2070s. A similar prediction is anticipated for space settlements on Mars, as scientists continue their efforts to find traces of water on the red planet's arid surface. The next 50 years of space exploration have the potential to drastically transform our society on a literally global scale. As technology continues to advance, and as humans become more and more active on nearby celestial bodies, the most forward-thinking companies are hard at work to revolutionize and innovate the ways we interact with technology and space exploration. How about you? Where do you think we'll be in the next 50 years? Let us know in the comments section below, and if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button to show your support. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Sky's TL and hit the bell icon to be notified whenever we post new content. That's it for today's video, so thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.